Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, you're welcome. My name is Rosina Sharon. So today we're going to do more of a bridal makeup tutorial. Before we do that, kindly subscribe, share your thoughts in the comment section down below. I'll be reading all of them. And if you like the video, give it a big thumbs up. With no further ado, let us go straight into the video. So we're going to start off with the brows. We're going to start by brushing the eyebrows up using a spoolie before we start lining. To line, we're using the Davis No. 3 eye pencil. Make sure it's very sharp. If the edge is blunt, go and sharpen it again, okay? And it's going to be easier for you if you already trimmed your brows. So as you line, you're just going to follow the shape of the brows. As you go towards the outer corner, make sure you line it outwards. Around the upper side, you're leaving a bit of space, Around the inner corner, again, follow the exact shape of the brows. And please avoid doing a thick brow for a bridal. I beg. Next, we're just using the bust up technique. I have this technique on my eyebrow tutorial, very detailed. If you want to see it, go and watch my eyebrow tutorial, guys. It's very detailed. So to fill in, you're going to start from the outer corner going towards the inner corner, and we're going to focus mostly on the areas we feel like there is space. As you go towards the inner corner, you can tilt your eye pencil sideways and just create a shadow starting from the lower side going up. And as you do this, please use very little force. And next, to clean, you're going to use the e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer, and we're going to use a flat brush for this. Okay, this is a concealer 2 shades lighter than our skin tone, and unfortunately for me, this concealer is actually on the yellow side. Like, it has a very yellow undertone, but I normally mix it with something more pale, just to reduce that undertone a bit. So just going to follow the shape of the brows as you go towards the outer corner, clean it outwards. Around the inner corner, you're going to use a foundation that matches your skin tone or your bride's skin tone. Make sure that foundation line blends into that concealer line, and then always drag the product down as you go. It's going to be easier for you to set later. And then after, you can use a fluffy brush just to blend that in before you set the lids for eyeshadow. And now to set the lids for eyeshadow, you're going to use a concealer. If you're going to use a concealer, use a concealer that is mattifying and a bit light. But it would be very good if you used an eyeshadow base instead of a concealer. So for the eyeshadow today, I'm going to use the Dollypinky eyeshadow palette, and we're going to do the 3-dot technique for the eyeshadow today. So the first dot starting on where the upper lash line stops, second dot on the midpoint of the lid where your eyebrow starts curving, and then the last dot just near the inner corner there, but focusing on the midpoint of the lid. And then you're going to connect starting from the outer corner going towards the inner corner, and you're using a small round fluffy brush. As you go towards the inner corner, you see how the eyeshadow brush is pointed sideways like that. Don't point it upwards. It's going to spread the product all over. And before you continue, you can use the same brush, tap off the excess, and gently smudge or blend in that edge. You can use sweep-like motions and very little force before you start blending that in. So to blend that in, you're going for a lighter shade of brown. Remember, here we're using brown shades and they're all matte. So you can use a bigger brush for this. And then, so to blend here, you're going to use circular motions, very little force, starting from the outer corner, going towards the inner corner. And then on the upper side, use a finishing powder that matches your skin tone or your bride's skin tone. So for bridals especially, I would recommend you go for a very subtle transition, okay? And then you can use a brush, the same brush you used to set, just to blend in that crease region there. As you can see, just blend in that concealer in, and then use a nude matte shade on that crease region, okay? We're not going for bright shades, we're not going for colorful shades, especially if you're doing a white wedding. And then you can blend in the edge of that crease region. So for the crease should come to at least 3/4 in width, and then you can just do a tiny eyeliner line, or you can go for a wing if you must. But if you're going for a wing, make sure you go for a short wing. Please, for bridals, don't give your bride one hell of a wing, a Nicki Minaj wing for her white wedding. I beg. We're going for a very timeless look, okay? Not an overpowering look. And then you can do falsies, or you can do your bride's falsies after that. So moving on to the face, skin prep is very, very important, especially for bridals. So you can start with a serum, then sunscreen, then moisturizer, then primer, in that order. So for me, I'm going to use the Bondi Sands SPF 50 sunscreen. I'm going to apply that all over the face. As you can see, the sunscreen is very, very moisturizing as is. And then for primer, I am moving on to Rimmel Stay Matte Primer, and I'm applying that on my T-zone area alone because, again, I have dry skin. My skin lies mostly on the dry side. So if your bride is oily skinned, make sure you use a very mattifying primer, and then apply that on all the areas she has open pores. Okay, T-zone, and then all the areas she has open pores. Then for foundation, I'm using the Nars foundation, and I'm using a beauty blender for myself because I just enjoy using a beauty blender on myself. But when I'm doing a client's makeup, I normally use a brush. I don't know why. So if you're going to use a beauty blender, tap it in. Tap, tap, tap. Don't drop the product around, okay? And we're not going to apply foundation, sorry. We're not going to apply foundation under the eyes. And another thing, when you're using a beauty blender, use a damp beauty blender, okay? Wet it with water and then squeeze out the excess water on the beauty blender. Squeeze that out completely. You can use a dry towel as well. Squeeze it out, and then now use the damp beauty blender, to blend in the foundation. Around the nose region, please avoid using too much product. Use as little product as possible. And then as you go towards the forehead, make sure you blend it starting from just above the eyebrows, going left to right, right to left, like that. And then after, you're going to highlight using a concealer that is 2 shades lighter than your skin tone, starting from the under eye. Remember, we did not apply any foundation on the under eyes. We are only going to apply concealer on the under eyes. Please remember that. And then you're just going to highlight under eye, bridge of the nose, or forehead. And as that concealer sets, we're going to cream contour. I'm using the Unapologetic foundation. I think the shade is Tan. And I'm just going to cream contour the cheek area here. That is the only place I cream contour myself. But if you feel like cream contouring every other place, you can go ahead and do that. And then again, I'm going to do a cream blush as well. I feel like cream blushes just work best for bridals. They do amazing work for bridals. Like, it leaves that cheek looking, I don't know, fresh and yummy, if that makes sense. And then after that, now we can go back and blend in that concealer, starting with the under eyes. Blend, blend, blend. And take your time to blend, especially for bridals. Take your time to blend. If the area is not blended well, go back in and blend it in before you move on to the next step. And then you're going to blend all the areas you highlighted using a concealer. On the forehead again, you blend it left to right, right to left. And before you continue, make sure you blend in that cream blush and come back in and blend that concealer on the under eyes before you set it in, okay? Now, immediately after blending in the concealer, you can go ahead and set. Immediately after, don't wait. So you're starting off with a finishing powder that matches the shade of that concealer, okay? And you're going to take a tiny bit of product and press it in. If you're going to use a beauty blender, use a side that has product, and take that product, as you see, and press it in, okay? Use a considerate amount of product, not too much. You don't want to look like you're too powdered up, okay? Press it in, starting from the under eyes, and then you can go ahead and set all the areas you highlighted using a concealer. So that would include bridge of the nose and forehead as well. So you're starting with a finishing powder and then move on to a setting powder. So for setting powder, you're going to take a little amount of product, and then you can either blow off the excess product or tap off the excess product, and then the product remaining is what you're going to use to set in on all the areas you highlighted using a concealer again. So you start with the finishing powder and then go over it with a setting powder. And then after, now you can go for powder contour and just use that powder to blend in the areas you contoured with using the cream contour. You cannot leave cream contour just being creamy on the face, okay? You have to do a powder contour on top of it so it mattifies. And then for nose contour, I normally prefer doing powder contour for the nose myself, but you don't have to. If you prefer doing cream contour, you can go ahead and do cream contour, but for the nose, I feel like the nose is it's a very delicate place and it sweats a lot. I don't want to do too much cream around the nose, just a personal preference, okay? And then For the nose, I start off by doing the nose contour lines using a flat brush, and then to blend in, I'm using a fresh fluffy brush. And then now you can go over the whole face using a finishing powder that matches your skin tone. Okay, and take your time to blend again. Take your time to blend. And then after that, we're just going to set the whole face using the Milani Make It Last Original Setting Spray. That is the first time you're going to spray. I normally do a lot of setting spray nowadays. That is just, I don't know. I feel like my skin should look like skin after I'm done with makeup. And then I'm going to do a black cream liner on the waterline alone. Don't bring it down to the under eye, just on the waterline alone. And then again, go over my face with a setting spray for the second time. And then after now, I'm going to do my lips, starting off with a brown lip liner. And after you're done lining the lips with the brown lip liner, make sure you blend in the lip liner. It's very, very important, especially for, don't let your bride walk around looking like she has one line all over the lips. I beg. Let them blend in the lip liner. And then nowadays I lean more towards a pink look, so I start off with a bright pink and then I go over it with a bright concealer, so it just it tones down the pink and gives it more of a nudish pink, if that makes sense. And then go over it with a clear lip gloss, and that would be it. Hey, see our bride shining a bag. Yeah. Anyway, guys, for bridals, please go for something subtle, toned down, timeless. Go for a timeless look. Something that she's going to see it in 20 years and still feel good about it, okay? Not look like a clown in 20 years. Okay, thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned a lot. I'll see you guys on my next video. Please subscribe. Bye.